Hello and welcome to the Boro Breakdown podcast, the lowdown on Tommy Conway. Tommy has joined us from Bristol City, made his debut at the weekend against Derby, and we've paid 4.5 million supposedly for his services. So the 22-year-old, he's joined us on a 4-year deal. He was actually at Bristol City since he was 7 years old, but he's finally decided to make the move to Teesside to join us, such a big and amazing club. I'm joking. Jealous for the Bristol City fans that are watching this video, who have been in the comments of the message boards who have been slating him. But anyway, he made his debut against Coventry in 2021. He's been named Bristol City's Young Player of the Season for last year. And we've been looking to sign Tommy Conway for about the last 2 years. So it shows how much depth or in-depth of analysis people can go into when trying to recruit a player. And also, he was Boro's leading target for the summer con to the Northern Echo. So, Michael Carrick, then, what did Michael Carrick say about him? He said, I think he'd be a really good addition for us across the top. He can play across the top line where we've got good options anyway. I like the way he runs. He's clever with his runs. He's dynamic. He's got a really good attitude. Is technically very good and is a good finisher. From what we've seen, we're really happy to get him. But anyway, let's not hear our thoughts just yet. Let's get one Bristol City fan's perspective, and it's Patch from the Three Peeps in the podcast.
Well, Tommy Conway, what can you say about the lad? He's a natural-born goal scorer. 25 goals in 92 appearances for Bristol City over the last 3 seasons. Made his debut during COVID, scored his first goal during COVID away at Millwall. He came on the podcast and was extremely excited. You could tell he had a thirst for football, a thirst for first-team action. And as a lad, as I say, who joined Bristol City from the age of 9 years old, he has been there watching the team and dreaming of playing in the first team. To then actually play and go on to be top goal scorer 2 years on the trot, Young Player of the Year. As I say, he's a natural-born goal scorer. Over the last few seasons, he's struck up a really good relationship with Naki Wells. And when we used to play 2 up front, that was a great combination to watch, and how he flourished and achieved a lot of what he did in terms of goal scoring and a number of assists along the way as well. Scored some really important goals for us, notably at home to Cardiff, which he celebrated as any Bristol City player, fan would against your local rivals. But he's going to be missed. As I say, he scored some important goals for us. West Ham away, West Ham at home as well. Showed his eagerness to get onto the ball, eagerness to get his shot away. And that's exactly what he'll do. He has got an eye for goal. And I'm sure he will score goals for Middlesbrough. So we wish him all the best, and hope you guys look after him.
So I've just quickly want to push Patch's podcast. He's got 2 with Tommy Conway. So if you want to learn a little bit more after this show, of course, go and listen to Three Peeps in a Pod, because he's actually on that on YouTube as well. And he was very sad to see Tommy Conway go, which is a bit of an anomaly because there's a lot of frustrations that he is gone. But Dale, he's another official sign for Boro. Hopefully one more before it closes in the end of August and start of September. What do you think of Tommy Conway?
Yeah, I think it's quite important to say straight from the get that Conway doesn't show up particularly well statistically. And obviously, when we're looking at these lowdowns, we do like to delve into the stats as well as the eye test. There is one exception, though, in regards to the stats, which is penalty kicks. He's ranked in the top 3% for spot kicks last season. 5 of his 10 championship goals in 2023-24 were from the spot. Stylistically, he's a striker that isn't afraid to link the play. That is, of course, a key attribute of Michael Carrick's strikers. We know this. It's not exclusively the knack of scoring goals that Carrick is looking for from them. They have to be able to combine well with the 10s, with Azaz and McGree, and the wingers as well. They have to be comfortable on the ball. They have to be comfortable taking the ball into wide areas, which is what Conway often does, to be fair, on the left flank and the left channel. His all-round game does need work. That's what Bristol City fans have said, to be fair. When I looked at the forums a couple of months ago, before this move was kind of solidified, or the interest was necessarily solidified, at least publicly. One of the things that they were saying is that from open play, they probably just want a little bit more from him. And I do think that that's fair. He's just recently turned 22, though, so don't expect the finished article by any means. I think obviously this is an investment. Boro have brought him in on a 4-year contract. So he is someone that I think Boro will be looking to refine, and hopefully that can happen under Michael Carrick. In regards to his movement, he does have the tendency to drift out wide, which isn't a bad thing, but it does take him away from the area in which I feel he can be really dangerous. To be fair, with Boro strikers, we see it quite frequently with Latte Lath, particularly against Derby, actually, moving out to that left-hand side, trying to take the ball and trying to bring it in central areas from there, being a little bit of a 1v1 threat, Latte Lath. Probably less so with Tommy Conway. He tries it. I wouldn't say that he's necessarily the best. And I feel like at Boro, with the dynamic that we have on the left-hand side and how McGree comes centrally, we could see Tommy Conway operate in there. However, I would like to see him in the box as close to goal as much as possible, because he is a good finisher. I did notice when I was watching him, there were some good moves made centrally, but the balls into him by Bristol City teammates, they just weren't good enough or quick enough. At Boro, you'd like to hope that the service into him is better. He does frequently play on the last line, and that's something that he did mention in his interview with BBC Tees after the Derby game. He travels quite well. He's got a good quickness about him. I wouldn't necessarily say that that's like one of the first notable attributes of him, but he's kind of like deceptively quick, I would say. And I get Patrick Bamford vibes from him a little bit. I do seem to fall on that Patrick Bamford comparison quite frequently. For some reason, he must just be the benchmark of Boro strikers for me. But he has scored 20 goals in 82 championship games. So that's roughly a goal every 2.5 games, which is good. And like I said in the last pod, if we can get 8 to 12 goals from him, you'll then have goal threats from different areas, and it lessens the reliance on Latte Lath. I was looking at their forums, and to be fair, I will say that the forums were very measured and rational in regards to Tommy Conway, what the hell? They were actually saying that they are very different to Twitter in how they viewed this move. But one of them, an amazing name, Scrumpy Legs, said that the breakthrough of Tommy Conway's will be when opposition defences are shitting their pants when they see his name on the team sheet and he's scoring week in, week out. He ain't quite there yet, but he might not be too far away. And then another one said, in a team that creates lots of chances, I can see Conway easily scoring between 20 and 25 goals at this level, as his finishing is excellent. He's had to feed off scraps for the last couple of years, so it'll be interesting to see how he does elsewhere. So yeah, I think this is a good signing from Boro. He's got potential at the end of the day, and I think that potential could be unlocked under Michael Carrick, and we could see a more refined, more polished version of Tommy Conway that, as I said, can just give Boro that extra few goals that we probably need, and hopefully take us to the Premier League, which is, of course, where he wants to be as well.
Yeah, and there's a lot to dissect from what you were saying there, Dan, and honestly on the run side of things, it could be, instructional from the manager to do that, and it would be interesting to see how he makes his runs or adapts them as he plays for Boro. In terms of the deal as well, I think for $4.5 million, I think you do worry a little bit, but like maybe about 10 years ago, you're thinking, we paid $4.5 million for Mark Viduka. But for Tommy Conway, I think it's a good price. He's 22-year-old. There's plenty of time for him to develop. He's joining a team who create a hatful of chances. Top 5 last year for chances created. Albeit we're in the top 5 for big chances missed, and we have to get better at that. We have to improve on that. And in terms of where he could play, we'll probably come on to that in a moment. But I do like him. I do like him. I think he's got some really good movement about him. Gets himself in good areas in the box. I thought his runs that were to dive towards the front post were really strong. Some strikers, I think I always like my striker to be at the back post. I think a good striker is always there and anticipates that ball to come right across. But overall, I think we've got a good player there in terms of where he can go. The potential's there. You obviously paid for the potential there for 4.5 million. But I think it's going to take him time. I think when you look at Finn Lazar's coming in, really good talent at this level, but still finding his feet in terms of Boro's system, it can be complicated. You're trying to play a different way from what these different teams have played, much more possession based, which Finn Lazar hadn't really seen too much of in the Championship. League One was a bit different, but then similarly with Tommy Conway, when you're playing under Nigel Pearson, you're playing Liam Manning. Now Liam Manning is more possession based. It probably helped him a lot more, but Nigel Pearson wasn't as strong, so he was probably feeding off scraps in terms of that. But we should probably get another Bristol City fan perspective, because I think that it's showing strengths and weaknesses. We've spoken a lot about with strengths, but I think Jack Buchanan, who we got another voice note from, has got a little bit of insight on his weaknesses just as well.
With Tommy Conway, it's a little bit of a difficult one for me. I think there's a lot of animosity surrounding him at the moment, with kind of the way he left the club. Like, obviously, he came through our academy. He's been with us since, I want to say, the age of 8 or 9. So to kind of turn his back on us, for want of a better word, and turn down a new deal, I think in his head he was probably going to get a big Premier League move or a move up to Scotland. I know Celtic and Rangers were interested. From what I know, his grandparents are Celtic fans, so I guess he would have lent more that way, should they have actually come in for him. But I don't think that ever kind of just happened in the end. They ended up signing Adam Eder instead from Norwich, who's probably a much better player than Conway, if we're being brutally honest, and he obviously was at Celtic last year as well. But in terms of Conway's strengths, he's very direct, which is good on the most part. But for me at Boro, he doesn't get in ahead of Latte Lath most weeks. Obviously, we saw it on his debut yesterday, as of recording this, that he only got 15, 20 minutes maybe, and apparently he looked quite good when he came on. But I don't see him starting too many games for you. But when he does, he looks to get him behind a lot. He's nice and direct. A good penalty taker as well. So if that's ever needed for you, then he's reliable on that one. I don't think he's ever missed one for us. He took quite a lot last season. I'm pretty sure he scored them all. So yeah, overall, I think it's probably a good signing for you. The price tag may be a little bit high, 5 million when he's going on a free in the summer. I think we might have had your pants down a little bit on that one. But we'll wait and see. It kind of depends how it plays out. If he ends up scoring a goal that gets you promoted or gets you in the top 6 or something like that, then £5 million is instantly worth it, isn't it? So we'll wait and see how that one transpires throughout the season. In terms of weaknesses, he's a little bit one-dimensional. Like I mentioned, now he's so direct. He's not very good in the air because he's pretty small. But don't get me wrong. When you play him a through ball or a low cross comes in, he's very, very potent and pretty clinical most of the time. There with the odd big chance that he missed last season, which he wasn't doing the year before. So he's a little bit hit and miss more last season, I guess. But overall, I think it's a very, very solid signing for you guys.
Interesting about Latte Lath then saying he couldn't get in ahead of him. But I don't know about you, but I don't think he replaces Latte Lath either. I think he plays elsewhere. What do you think?
Yeah, he's definitely not going to replace Latte Lath, but I don't think anybody really expects him to. Firstly, given Latte Lath's season last season, he's absolutely got that number 9 position nailed. But also, as I mentioned, he's just turned 22, Conway. There's maybe a notion from Bristol City fans that he hasn't quite had that breakout campaign. And I guess by that they mean probably getting between 15 and 20 goals, because he's registered, he scored 12 goals, I think, in his last 2 championship seasons. So, yeah, this is a player that Boro are investing in. 4-year contract, time will be on Tommy Conway's side. I don't expect him to be a starter straight away, but he's versatile. He said to BBC Tees that he can play anywhere across the front line. And that's another thing that Michael Carrick wants from his forward players, versatility. Of course, Latte Lath's probably the only one actually that plays in one position, but he could feasibly play on the wings. I think he did play there for Atalanta. So, yeah, they want versatility from their forward players, and that's what Tommy Conway gives you. So he will get minutes for us. And yeah, the having the pants down thing, okay, maybe to start with, but as I mentioned a couple of pods ago, this needs to be viewed in a long-term focus. If you focus so much on the short term, then you will probably land on the opinion that this is a sideways move or maybe an ever so slight forward move. But Boro have got potential within themselves to be a team that try to get promotion or challenge for promotion this season, which I hate to say it is more than Bristol City fans have ever achieved or tried to achieve since I've known them being in the Championship. So, and that's no shade, because I don't have any bad feeling about Bristol City until, of course, they beat us, and they've done that quite frequently over the years. But yeah, this is an investment. He's not going to replace Latte Lath from the jump or even like in the midterm, but long term, I think he will be a player that racks up a lot of minutes for us, I think.
Yeah, I'm the same. And his position wise, I would like to see him in that supporting striker role, that number 10, as you will, in terms of in position wise. Could he potentially replace Finazaz if things aren't working out as much as we need him to? Give us something different on the right hand side where he's direct as well. Similarly to Marcus Force on the right hand side with his direct runs. I don't think he's a left-sided attacking player, if I'm honest. But I know how he could potentially drift in and get into more of a central area, and also you can play up front as well. So that versatility that you mentioned there, Dan, I think is absolutely spot on. You want extra layers, and I've always said it in these lowdown videos and probably about Boro in general, like last couple of seasons. But the more layers you have in the attacking team, the better you're probably going to be, and the more problems you're going to cause a team as well. But comes down to the probably the best part of the show, Dana, where everyone looks at these and points the finger and rinses us for the ratings that we have. I know what you're all thinking. But Dana, what are you gonna go for out of 5 for this one?
3.5 for me, as I said, has the potential to be unlocked under Michael Carrick and to be a striker that Championship fans envy not having. And it does feel like we've got him in a good moment where he's on the cusp of really just kind of breaking through, absolutely, and having that season that everyone wants to see from their striker. So yeah, 3.5 for me, being a little bit conservative with it, but I do think that by the end of his 4-year contract, if he's still here, of course, he will be marked as a success.
Yeah, I can't even say this. I'm actually going to go 4.5. It's high. Look, it's high, and I'm not going with it because it's the same as what we've paid for him. I mean, I might say that now, but I do like it. I think it's a good signing for us, and his versatility is really key. I quite like his direct runs, but I just think there was something there where I think it could really click for us and click for him. I would like to see a bit more. I would like to see a bit of arrogance about him. I like to see him throw his body about, be the guy, like be him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that will come with time. And hopefully he does get the time to develop. I know fans can be really instant and say, "Oh well, he's shite, nah. He's played 1 minute for Middlesbrough. I don't like him anymore." So I hope we give him the time. This system of how we play and how people adapt to roles and new clubs can take up to about a year. So I hope we just get the time to do that. But we create plenty of chances for him. He's good in the box. Hopefully, this is a good recipe for success. And if it's not, I am leaving these ratings to the side and never rating a player ever again. I'm sick of being heartbroken by bad ratings. But anyway, thank you very much for joining me as always. To listen to the viewers, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up on YouTube, and don't forget to subscribe to the Boro Breakdown podcast on your podcast provider and on YouTube as well. We're near 2,500 subscribers on YouTube, so if you haven't subscribed, do subscribe. But for right now, this has been the Boro Breakdown podcast, and that was all your Tommy Conway chatter in a pod. Up the Boro Breakdown.